In San Diego, the Islamic Community Center, one of the largest mosques in San Diego, or in the county, I believe, was subjugated to an unfortunate violence, an unfortunate attack of, or an attack of terrorism, an act of terrorism, which of course the media has been reluctant to give it that title because we understand what narratives are painted and what ideas are pushed forward for the propaganda and who's in control of these media companies, the very ones who would never want to push the idea that terrorism can be invoked upon Muslims or asserted upon Muslims. But that's exactly what happened on Monday. A deadly shooting took place, and in this public shooting, I think there were 3 kids. There's a manifesto. If we have time, we'll read it, but I just want to make sure I get through the story because maybe a lot of you didn't see it or all the details. But they went in with these guns that allegedly they took from their mom. I guess their mom called 911 and said there's some weapons missing, but by that time it was too late. The perpetrators had entered the campus of the mosque and got into a gun battle with one of the more prominent people who were killed. And I don't mean prominent in terms of importance, but in the fact that he likely saved many of the lives and the children's lives inside of the mosque. His name is Amir Abdullah. He got into a gunfight with these gunmen, and in the gunfight, allegedly, he was able to radio in and tell the school and everybody inside, the teachers, the officials, maybe the principal, that there's a shooting, there's armed gunmen that are coming inside, go into lockdown, and that gave them enough time in advance and a heads up to get undercover, enact their safety protocol whenever there's an armed threat on the campus or at the mosque, and they were able to avoid a lot of casualties that would have happened had he not been able to do that. So it was super tragic, and 2 teenage gunmen killed 3 people at a San Diego mosque Monday. So yeah, that was Monday. So we'll get into the story here by NBC News. And I just want to say before we get into this, man, you know, no one's calling this terrorism. And that's exactly what it was. I mean, it was an act of violence that had a political backing or a political ideology or basis behind it. And it was disgusting. It was vile. Of course, I'm Muslim, so this hits really close home for me. But even when we saw the situation in Minnesota with the Catholic school, that also is really unsettling and, you know, broke my heart. And things like this, man, people say, oh, it's, you know, it's leftist and it's this and it's that and it's radical far right. And a lot of the times it is the left that is responsible for these activities. But really this is, and I've always said this, and I want to make sure I'm consistent about this, you know, it's either really far right or really far left or just full-on demonic psychomaniacs who are at the side of guilt when it comes to these attacks. And I guess one of them or both of them killed themselves after, and there was a stream of it on Twitter. I couldn't bring myself to watch it, unfortunately. I apologize. Maybe if I watched it, I would have been able to give you guys a little bit more of a detailed insight as to what happened, but we'll read this article instead. I can't bring myself to watch the footage of them killing people, and this security guard was a revert to Islam. He was beloved by the community. FouseyTube spoke about him. I guess he met him or he knew him. He was a bright personality, great character. The whole community loved him dearly. So, you know, he died as a martyr. No doubt he's a shaheed, and his actions were very heroic in saving several innocent lives.
Police and SWAT teams responding to the Islamic Center of San Diego around 11:43 this morning to a deadly shooting.
Multiple victims. Shooters are not in custody.
Within 4 minutes, officers arrived on scene and observed immediately what appeared to be deceased victims out in front.
Police with guns drawn approaching the building. Grade school children at a school inside rushed out hand in hand. Officers began going classroom by classroom to secure the building.
They did have to breach doors to get into all of the different rooms. Extremely chaotic.
One of the victims in front of the building, a security guard, seen on the ground lying in a pool of blood.
Yeah, and I saw the uncensored version of that, and that really unsettled me. It really unsettled me, and I really don't advise you go and try and find it.
In a pool of blood. Witnesses describing a confrontation with the gunman.
Supposedly, someone walked up, showed a weapon to the security guard. Security guard pulled his weapon. They started firing.
Tonight, police say that security guard prevented an even worse tragedy.
Yeah, apparently during the gunfight, they're going to say it here, but from what I understand, he slowed them down and distracted them enough to where the kids could hide.
One of the deceased is a security guard that works there, and I think played a pivotal role in assisting.
And this is the security guard here. Sneeko posted this, but Amir Abdullah is a hero who died protecting his children from white supremacist terrorists. Complete silence from the media, podcasters, and celebrities. And then he draws the contradiction with George Floyd and the crazy response to that back in 2020. But this is him. May God bless him. May Allah grant him Jannah. Say Ameen. Allah yarhamu. This stuff is horrible, man. This is horrible. So, it is what it is, but he's a hero. He probably saved hundreds and hundreds of lives, children lives at that. So, very heroic actions by him. And he did exactly what he always set out to do for his job of being a security guard at the masjid. So, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. And yeah, this didn't get as much, you know, this was in the mainstream news, but it didn't get the coverage that I thought it would get, you know, but.
From this being much worse.
Police tonight describing the suspects as two teenagers, both male, ages 17 and 19, found dead in a vehicle off-site.
The suspects at this point appear to have died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. There were no officers involved in firing their weapons.
And officers describing another scene 2 blocks away, where the suspects apparently started firing at a landscaper.
There was a landscaper that was doing his work that was shot at and fortunately was not hit.
The shooters' identities and potential motives yet to be released.
We are considering this a hate crime.
Tonight, this message from the mayor.
I want to assure our Muslim community that we will do everything it takes to make sure that you can feel safe in this city.
Still an active scene tonight. Morgan Chesky is there at the perimeter. And Morgan, we know there are still people who were injured in the shooting.
Yeah, Tom, that's right. We know that multiple people were taken to nearby hospitals where they are still being treated, but authorities confirming again tonight that no school children were injured inside that Islamic center. And as we push in here, you can see that they've established a wide perimeter around that building here on all sides. I cannot tell you, Tom, the convergence of law enforcement that we have seen here. And back out here, we've just heard from 2 senior law enforcement officials when they searched that car where those deceased gunmen were found, they did find anti-Islamic writings, but this investigation, Tom, still very early. Tom.
Yeah, so
Tonight, this new
heartbreaking stuff. And, you know, I saw some stuff online from a couple people that I'm not going to name because I don't want to start drama. And they were saying, you know, like this, something like this happens. It's so disgusting. No one deserves to be killed for no reason. Doesn't matter what their ideology is. You've got to be an absolute retard to think that there's anything justifiable about this in a sick, demonic person who needs help and needs really to be checked out mentally. And I saw people online, again, I'm not going to name them, they go, I condemn this act of violence, but you got to admit, Islam, insert that. Islam this, Islam that. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Are you fucking crazy? A mosque gets shot up. A security guard is killed in cold blood. Now they're pulling history from that security guard, social media that said that he was like some sort of Hitler sympathizer. That's what I'm seeing online and stuff. What the fuck is wrong with you? This guy just got murdered in cold blood. He hurt nobody. And this is the stuff that some of these people on the right, these traditional conservatives, do. Give up the anti-Islam rhetoric. It's corny. It's really corny. And I guess because I'm a Muslim, you may not want to hear it from me, but I can guarantee you it discredits you because you're so ideologically captured to the point where you've lost a sense of humanity. When a mosque is shot up and Muslims are killed in cold blood, the first thing you go is, yeah, I condemn that, but hey, backpedal. There is no but. You have your grievances with Islam, totally fine. Pick and choose the time and when you actually talk about that. Maybe talk about that at another time. To attack Islam and its political basis and the ideology and the religion when a mosque just got shot up is like a really cheap, weird thing to do. So that kind of like ticked me off. And I saw a couple people, and I have to be vague because of YouTube, but a lot of these people who, let's just say, support Israel also were very quick to condemn Islam when a mosque was shot up. It's like, hey, bro, maybe not the time. These crazy deranged gunmen with this manifesto that just came out just try to kill a bunch of kids. Who cares if the kids are Muslim? Who cares if the kids are Jewish? Who cares if the kids are Christian? Well, they were just trying to kill like hundreds of kids. Thank God they got stopped. And all you do is attack the person who got in between the gunmen and the children and say he was a sympathizer because of some social media comment years ago. It's crazy. It's crazy.